So we just gonna start off with the L Teddy slander just already.
I
I
did
ain't
not
do nothing but
slander
come on.
you. I did not slander you.
I ain't do nothing but come on here. I have to be met with all this, venom and vitriol.
I did not slander you, sir. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Now, listen, first of all, I want to welcome everybody who is here. This is something a little different. I am streaming the Teacher Project 2.0. It is also streaming on my YouTube channel, Really Be TV. Now, we normally don't conflate the two because there's two very different types of content. But remember, we are on a mission to get the word out. And so I want to make sure that, those of you that are on my channel, that you are getting a little taste of the Teacher Project. So if you are here on the Really Be TV side, I would like for you to go and subscribe to the Teacher Project 2.0. If you put in YouTube the Teacher Project 2.0, it pops up. It is myself and El Teddy. Also, you're catching this on the replay, and my mods will be dropping the link. So all you have to do is click the link and subscribe. So the Teacher Project is a YouTube channel slash podcast that is focused on education issues as it relates to the LGBTQIA community and children of color. So, that is what we do over here. It's a little different. Okay. How you doing, Doc?
I'm great. I am great. Hold, I'm sending a message. I'm on plan E, F, and G.
Yeah, Doc got some stuff going on that he trying to handle. Over on the Teacher Project, it is Dr. L. Teddy. Just so you guys
Yeah,
know. The doctor. We use
we do have credentials over
professional
here.
salutations over here. Okay. Um, so let me say hi to the people. Thank you, Tracy. Tracy said I am on both, honey. Thank you, Tracy. Um, hey, lemon kush. Lemon kush. Excuse me. Sweet pea. Hey, Cams. Mwah. It's a terrible state with terrible people in charge. I know that's right. Hey, Amber. Hey, Ravine. L. Atkinson. Glad to catch the live. Glad to have you here. Um, right. It's Dr. L. Teddy cross country when we are doing the Teacher Project 2.0. So when he comes back, we have an update to a story we've been following, and then we have a couple of new stories to share with you guys today. And yes, it is always Florida. It is always Florida. We are on episode 13 of our season 4. And let me tell you how many stories we've already had that involve the state of Florida. Let me tell you, because I told y'all I've been keeping account this year. So we have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. Nine stories out of our 13 episodes. Well, really 12 episodes because we're not in episode 13 yet. Out of 12 episodes have at least have involved the state of Florida. I must also include that the doc is from Florida.
Which just proves that Florida is a great place that just has horrible leadership.
Okay.
Shall I remind you, you come from the same state, I mean, same area, led by Marion Barry, a crackhead, a
No, what
baser.
you not gonna do? Oh, there will be no Marion Barry slander
Oh,
over
okay,
here.
well then don't be over here talking about where I'm from. And I can't talk about Marion
There will
Barry
be
over here with
no,
horns
listen,
and crack pipes.
no Marion Barry slander, sir. None.
You just gonna come over here talk about Florida
He
like we
might
just
smoke a little bit of crack,
horrible
but he was
people.
still better than Ron DeSantis.
Lord
He might have been a little crackish. Damn you.
Jesus.
Moving on. Moving forward. Moving right
Talk
along.
about my fair state.
I can't believe you. Anyway, so we have an update. You guys recall a few months ago we had the situation with the little boy who pow-powed his teacher um down in Virginia. So we have a little bit of an update to that story. Some very interesting information has come up as it relates to that story. So I'm gonna let you guys hear the
Did I even get this update?
yes, I did. I sent it to you. Yes, yes, sir. And I even asked you earlier this week, did you look at it? What you not gonna do.
Go ahead, Mel. Go ahead.
Exactly, sweet pea. Exactly.
Oh,
Now, dang nabbit. Don't be doing this to me. Know who you think you talking to.
you just
All
gonna
right.
sit up here and be dragging my good state?
Now
All
facing
right.
federal charges, Deja Taylor is facing.
Oh shoot. Oh shoot. Hold on, y'all. Hit the
Reading
wrong button.
charge in Newport News after police say her 6-year-old son shot his teacher at Rich Neck Elementary.
The new charges are related to Taylor's gun ownership. Sarah Hammond is in the studio to explain. Well, Deja Taylor is now facing federal gun and drug charges. New documents from federal prosecutors accuse Taylor of unlawfully using marijuana while in possession of a gun and making a false statement during the purchase of a firearm. Prosecutors say Taylor made a false claim when buying a 9mm handgun in 2022 that she was not, quote, an unlawful user of or addicted to any illegal drug. Federal prosecutors say she was, in fact, an unlawful user of marijuana. The 25-year-old is already criminally indicted on a charge of felony child neglect and a misdemeanor charge of endangering a child by reckless storage of a firearm. Police say Taylor's son shot his first-grade teacher, Abby Zwerner, on January 6th inside her classroom at Rich Neck Elementary School. Newport News police had previously said the boy's mother legally purchased the gun, but the federal complaint now claims she lied on her application to purchase and possess the gun. Back to you. All right, Sarah,
So
thank you. It's not
the mama of the little boy who took the weapon to school lied on her application to legally possess said weapon. And so she is now being charged with lying on the application. And that is the same weapon that the little boy took to school, where he then shot his teacher. Listen.
Um, Before I make my comments, those of you on Really Bees live, please know I'm in the bushes. If you over there, you need to come over here. I'm gonna just start sniping people out the bushes on Really Bees
You
live
are not going to snipe people,
until
Teddy.
you come over here to Teacher Project 2.0.
Okay,
Subscribe, press
okay,
the like button,
but
and put
then
all your chat
don't be
over
sniping the
here.
people in the chat, El Teddy.
I need y'all to come over here to Teacher Project 2.0 and subscribe and like the
You are
video
such
and
a
comment
bully.
over here. Come on over here. Come on over. Come on over, baby. Come on over. Come on.
Such a
Really
bully.
be I'm filibustering because I already told you what my situation is. Now it does look like we're moving in the right direction with having some compensatory, consequences for the mom, perhaps. But until we go full throated and full throttle um, on the mom, I told you I'm not gonna have a whole lot of energy for
I
this
mean, she
because
got
there's
federal
no
indictment. What more do you want to
no no.
happen to the
That's why
woman?
I'm
She's
saying
got
I
federal
see that
indictment.
we're going in the right direction.
Oh,
Then that's why I feel better about it now because we're finally getting getting them to point all of the attention in the right direction. However, I need more. Like all ire, all venom, all vitriol should be pointed in one direction. Yes, the school district is culpable in this. They have their parts to play, but at at the helm of the blame is the mother, and that's the end of the conversation. Because there's no way your child who's 6 years old should have the ability to get your gun, even if it was legally obtained, should even have the ability to get your gun, take it to school, and know exactly how to go and fire that gun at someone at the age of 6.
Well, the reality is, we talked about this a few months back.
Because there's no safety on that gun. I'm just
Well,
asking
no,
questions.
no, 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 no. Listen what I'm saying. No, I agree with everything you just said. I agree with everything you just said. But remember when we went back, that article that came out when the superintendent got fired and the assistant principal got fired, when they talked about how many instances where this young man was in trouble to the point where they even had an illegal IEP, where they had in the IEP, or not IEP, his behavioral, his BIP, saying that when he came to school, he had to have a parent with him at all times. Like that's not even a legal BIP. Like you can't write that. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that like she gonna own this school system. That's all I gotta say about that. She gonna
Hmm.
own this school system. I don't know what the cap is. I don't know what the situation is, but baby, she is going to own with so much evidence on how many mistakes that everybody made, even to the point where it was documented that they knew the boy had a weapon, and she was told, "Well, the school day is almost over." Excuse me. Anyway,
It's complete mess.
that's the update. So that's before we get into these other stories. Now let's see what we want to start. Now, one of these stories you said you were gonna break down for the people. So you want to do that one first, last, middle? What do you want to do?
Uh, did you email me the articles? No. I'm saying that as if I didn't
Listen,
send you the article. I know.
I
It's all
mean,
my fault.
you have all. I didn't say it was your fault. I would never blame you, El Teddy. Never.
You would.
I would not. I'll forward them to you now. But we have you want the Houston one? You want
I think
let's do
there are
this one
two
first.
of them
Teachers
that we said
removed
we were
across
going to
the
do
state.
together. The Florida and New York one, I think we said we were going to do together because both of those involved report. And we were
23 best
questioning.
23 best states. Yeah, let's do those two last. So let's start with this one first. Teachers moved across the state. I'm forwarding it to you now, even though you sent it to
Yeah,
me.
we're
Well,
questioning the efficacy of those reports. There's our word for the day: efficacy. 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 It is a
and you
noun.
ain't got no alibi. All right, you guys. I'm putting the link in the chat, so you guys are more than welcome to follow along, or dig deeper after we are done here. And then we get ready to get into it. They have to pay her for her pain. Also, throw the mom underneath the prison. Yeah, she gonna get paid. I don't know what, but there's gonna definitely be a settlement. Yeah, she ain't gonna have to worry about teaching again. What did I just do? Oh shit! What did I just do? Oh, okay. What did I just do?
I have no idea what you did.
Okay, you can still see and hear me though, right?
Hmm.
Okay. No, my screen just went blank, and I was like, "What did I just do?" Okay. So this is coming from ABC WFTS Tampa Bay, which is Florida. Just for the people that don't know.
I'm
Okay,
from Miami, so you saying Florida does hurt my feelings.
that's fine. Teachers removed across the state. Their concerns for state's education system. Professors at New College have been let go, and they're not the only ones. This is from June 8th. It was posted at 1:43. And let me read. At the beginning of this year,
Your
Governor
sound
Moses
going
said
in and
stated
out.
his mission to
Really
reshape
be,
New College
really
of
be,
Florida,
really
a
be,
state
really
liberal
be.
arts college.
Hello, really be. Your sound is
Okay.
going in and out. It's hard to
Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
I had stopped talking when you. I had stopped talking.
Oh no, no,
Can you
I
hear me now?
no, but even when you were talking, it was going in and out. Try again. I just didn't want it to be lost because it was like whole chunks that were being lost.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me. I don't know why it's doing that, but okay. At the beginning of this year, Governor Ron DeSantis made it his mission to reshape New College of Florida, a state liberal arts college, as part of his battle against what he calls woke ideology. DeSantis appointed 6 conservative members to the College Board of Trustees and removed the school's president to hire former House Speaker and State Education Commissioner Richard Cochran. Since those changes, professors at New College have been let go, and they're not the only ones. Really, the whole semester has been quite difficult, Eric Wallenberg said. Wallenberg was a visiting assistant professor of history at New College of Florida, teaching courses on environmental and U.S. history. About 8 weeks ago, while still teaching, he was told by peers that they wanted to renew his contract, but it was being held up by the newly elected interim president, Richard Cochran. Last day of classes, I was told by our division chair that he declined to sign my contract. This is just the latest in a string of moves to develop New College into what Florida's education commissioner calls the next Hillsdale of the South. Back in February, the school's newly appointed board of trustees voted to eliminate the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Office, and back in April, the college denied the tenure for 5 professors. It obviously sends a chilling effect, and I think that's their intention, Wallenberg said. For Wallenberg, he's moved back to Chicago. He said he was never given a reason as to why his contract was not renewed. When Florida 24 Network asked the university, they were given this statement, which reads: Mr. Wallenberg was a visiting professor of history at New College. His contract ended this month. Another professor has been let go elsewhere in the state. Is Sam Jokiel. I finished teaching a class, and on my way back to the office, I was stopped by the provost and the dean of my college and was asked if they could speak with me privately. Jokel was a professor of the honors program in English at Palm Beach Atlantic University. He said in early February, the dean handed him an envelope saying that his contract renewal would be delayed pending a review of the material in his racial justice unit. I've been teaching that racial justice unit for 12 years, and never once in those 12 years did any administrator voice any concerns. So that's why I say this came out of nowhere. The university told Jokel that the parent raised a concern with the university's president, saying he was indoctrinating students. A month later, Joker was terminated. It just seems like from the beginning they were out to get me, he said with a laugh. Joker has since taken matters into his own hands. He hired an attorney from the Scott Law Team who has already filed a charge of discrimination with the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. They hope this leads to a lawsuit. The decision here was motivated by race, in the sense that it was motivated by the university's opinions, feelings, motivated by what they thought a professor should teach on racial justice, attorney Gabe Roberts said. After countless letters of support for Jokel, the American Association of University Professors looked into the case. The university told the AAUP that Jokel was providing an opportunity to address complaints. The university followed procedures, and that was not summarily dismissed. And that Jokel was not summarily dismissed, excuse me. The university also stated to AAUP that as it relates to academic freedom, Dr. Jokel was not dismissed for teaching a unit on racial justice. The AAUP asked the university to reverse its decision to fire Jokel, but PBAU has not made any comment on the matter nor responded to questions asked since Florida 21 started reaching out 2 weeks ago. Professors across the state of Florida told, excuse me, professors across the state told Florida 24 Network that they hope that what happened to them does not continue to happen to others. My hope is the faculty, students, alumni, and staff band together to figure out a way to continue to teach the subjects and topics in the way in which they were hired to teach and what they were hired to teach, regardless of what happens in the state legislature, regardless of what the governor decides, regardless of who they install at these universities and colleges to oversee them. He added that Florida taxpayers, Florida residents, should be upset with what's happening and demand accountability. Recently, Richard Cochran stated that New College could be looking at implementing a new core curriculum that will provide virtue courses for students. Those courses are aimed at having an individual examine their purpose in life, define a just society, and pair that with the latest technologies. Doctor?
There's a lot going on here. So much going on here. Let me start by saying what's happening is this. Governor DeSantis has one hand on the bullhorn, screaming, distracting people, taking attention off of everything else. He has one hand on the bullhorn screaming about the LGBTQ community and how awful they are. Meanwhile, his other hand is signing bills and signing contracts and firing people based not only on LGBTQ, but also on race. Because see, what happens is here's where I always talk about marginalized communities shouldn't allow themselves to be pit against each other. Because let's be clear, the Black community and the LGBTQ community plus community are not aligned at all. They're still like this in a lot of regard. And so they look at what is being put on mainstream media about what's happening in the LGBTQ community and like, that ain't our problem. Let the gays and let them all of the epithets you want to put in there fight that battle. That ain't our battle. You know, we don't really care for them anyway. All the while, these state legislatures and governors are not just doing it to them, but they're also doing it to us in the Black community as well. It's happening simultaneously, but what they're doing is they know it will be a much harder fight if they were doing it to the Black community openly and as publicly as they're doing it to the LGBTQ community. They know there's venom and vitriol there for the LGBTQ plus community by a lot of people. But still in 2023, they know it's not really palatable for you to be just that overtly racist and do all of those things, but they can do it under the cloak of darkness while they are distracting you with what they're saying in mainstream media. And I say that because they are firing people, because let's just be clear, on the university level, there's not a whole host of courses being offered on LGBTQ plus curriculum. Let's be clear. There may be less than a handful, but there are a whole lot of courses that speak to the African American experience, the Latinx experience, the AAPI experience, and all of the other marginal women's studies and tons of other marginalized groups that are being stripped in these states. Look at what you have here. You have that guy Cochran, who they spoke about in the beginning of the article. He used to be the Speaker of the House in Florida, staunchly conservative. He then was handpicked because of his staunchly conservative stance to go and be the Secretary of Education, the Education Commissioner for the entirety of the Florida Department of Education. And so now he could implement all of those conservative ideologies. You can get all of the book bans you want. You can get all of the critical race theory that you're alleging is happening put out of schools. You can remove people from school boards that were duly elected. You can remove them and input your own people there in school boards by the hands of this Cochran guy who's doing the bidding of Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis said, thank you for that solid. Let me just go make you the president of this university now, because it's much more money being the president of a college than it is the education commissioner. So not only am I going to let you put all of these racist things in place for education, now I'm going to put you in charge of an educational institution so you can get money off of the backs of that racism, bigotry, and discrimination, because it's all about our racist friends that we're going to help out. There's so many dynamics that I just explained right there, and that doesn't even begin to break it all apart. But this is all going on simultaneously. And the point that I'm going to go back to is all of this is going on while they're distracting you to think that the only fight that they have right now is with the LGBTQ community. Mind you, all of the other marginalized groups are having their rights stripped. Go ahead, really, because I could keep going.
My issue, well, not my only issue, but the first thing that hit me was that a complaint came in from a parent. Can I stress how I don't think a parent complaint on a college curriculum should warrant that level of response? I mean, am I being ridiculous? That a parent,
But
I
that's what
mean,
they're going to tell you. It was a parent when it probably wasn't a parent at all. They were ready to do that anything anyway.
but what I'm
It
okay,
might have
but
been
that's
a friend of
fine.
theirs.
El Teddy, that's fine if they were lying. That's fine, but I still think that's a ridiculous that a parent that I would. It's ridiculous that you think, even if you're lying, that you think that a parent's complaint should warrant that level of response on a college class. I don't think my parents saw a syllabus the whole 4 years I was in undergrad. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand what you're saying that it could have been a lie, but the fact that they thought that was, they still had to think that that was a good lie. You know what I mean? It just that's just crazy to me. I mean, everything you said, of course,
You know what the sad part is really be they may know full well it's not even a good lie. They'll just make up anything and say, "Oh, it was a parent," and don't care because they know they have cover. There's no pushback. There's nobody to stop them. If you look at what's happening, look at the history of Governor Death sentence over there in Florida. He strategically removes all of the checks and balances, all of the safety nets. He strategically says, let me move this person, let me move that person, let me move this entity, let me restructure this whole entity so I can go in here and run this like an authoritarian nation with nobody to stop me. And that's what we have going on. So he could very well say, "Oh, I just tell them anything. I tell them it was a parent, and there's nothing they could do about it."
that's an interesting statement, Donna Clay. Donna Clay says because the black community is technically conservative. That's an interesting statement.
There is a
What?
large portion of the black community that is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
There's
not saying that she's right or she's wrong. I mean, it's her opinion. I'm not saying that I think she's right or she's wrong. I just think that's an interesting statement. Um, I do think that there are definitely some conservative thought processes, um, that are that are at play. I will agree with that, in my opinion. But I just think that's an interesting, commentary. Um, and it's funny because I think a lot of black people would probably look in the mirror and say, "Nah, not me." And then, like you said, when it comes to certain, let's use LGBTQ as an example. I'm not conservative. What are you talking about? And then, it's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, and you'll be like, it's like,
You know what is also scary, really be? They're doing this now. The two schools that they talked about are small schools. These are the small state schools that many people in Florida may not even knew existed. They're trying it there. They're, practicing there. This is going to come to the big, I think we call it the big five, the Florida State, UF, FAMU, UCF, USF, the big five state schools. And what do you do then? Because they've already, sharpened honed in their skills of being racist and bigoted. And now you're going to start there because we talked about on this platform how they were passing those restrictions against programs that are for diversity and that they would start getting rid of things like Black student unions, Latino or Hispanic student unions, that any clubs and organizations that foster that they're not going to dive in the deep end and do it at a UF or a FAMU first or a Florida State first, but they'll practice it at these little small schools, see what kind of pushback. Oh, we're not getting any pushback. Oh, that's all we need to do. Okay, great. And then they have, like Lady Proverbs say, they've set the precedent.
facts, absolutely. The black community votes Democrat because of economics, not liberal ideas. Okay, interesting. How would you feel about this? Yet I know you were not going. I don't understand what that means, Doctor Coltan. I'm not sure what you're saying. All right, so let's get to our next story. Um, and I'll drop the link in the chat. Again, 29 Houston schools will look different next school year. Hold on. There was a pop up. Sorry. Cameras in classrooms, no librarians, higher pay for teachers. Let me drop this link in the chat. El Teddy, I sent it to you, so you should have it. Strength, courage, and wisdom. All right, I don't know why that song's in my head all of a sudden, but it is. All right. Many reform minded community members believe the new education system is a step towards better student outcomes. Critics argue the changes will impose a uniform education model on low income communities across Houston who had no say in its formation while leaving affluent communities untouched. Well, don't they always? 1 week after the Texas Education Agency installed a new superintendent and board of managers at the helm of the state's largest public school system, 3 high schools and more than 2 dozen elementary and middle schools face sweeping reforms. On his first day, state appointed Superintendent Mike Miles announced the creation of the new education system, which entails whole scale reform in 29 high priority, high needs campuses. They include Wheatley, Cashmere, and North Forest high schools, as well as the elementary and middle schools in those areas. In other words, the schedules will look like this. The staffing model will be the same. How we pay teachers will be the same. How we evaluate teachers will be the same across those 29 schools. Those changes include more than $90,000 in pay and bonuses for teachers, a slightly longer school day with more instruction time, centralized lesson planning, as well as a stringent educator evaluation system based largely on standardized test results. So, first of all, let me finish reading. Just El Teddy,
Yeah,
remind me to go
please,
back.
because it's a lot.
Yeah,
Because
let
you're
me go
going to
back
keep
to that
stopping.
paragraph.
You're going to keep stopping.
Miles believes the current system of evaluating educator falls short. I'm not sure we have the rigorous standards of high quality instruction that we need, he said, arguing that too many teachers are rated as proficient while achievement gaps remain between different socioeconomic groups. That's the way that's the way it is across the country, he continued. We have not been able to close the achievement gap. We have low proficiency. You really think 97% of all teachers in America are proficient? I don't think so. Teachers who keep their current positions on the 29 campuses will become surgeons in what Miles calls a hospital model, with a support team creating lesson plans and handling paperwork for them. The model, put a
Mm,
mark next to that one too.
I told you it's going to keep
The model
stopping.
does not include school librarians. The goal is to raise the quality of instruction, raise student achievement, close the achievement gap, and prepare kids for the year 2035. We think we can do that with the staffing model that we have. The model that we have is proven. I'm not saying librarians can't help. Librarians have been effective in the past, and I think there are so many positions that need librarians outside of these 29 schools that they will be afforded that opportunity. He also, wait a minute, so he's getting rid of librarians altogether? Okay. He also said administrators will handle discipline with the assistance of cameras in the classrooms. Every classroom has a webcam and a Zoom link, and it's on 24/7, he said. If a kid is disruptive, we will pull the student out of class. We will put them in what we call a team center, and they're being monitored by a learning coach. And they zoom right back into class that they got pulled from.
I told you he was going to keep stopping. I told you. Girl, this is a mess. Girl,
Re-
it's a mess.
Reaction to the changes are mixed. Many reform minded community members believe the new education system is a step towards better student outcomes. Critics argue the changes will impose a uniform education model on low income communities across Houston who had no say in its formation while leaving affluent communities untouched. I think these are the two camps within education today. Former Spring Branch ISD superintendent and current University of Houston education professor Duncan Klossman said. Those who feel like this, yes, we need to make improvements, but the overall structure we have can work and make those improvements versus the reformed community who believes you need wholesale change. Miles' reforms placed heavy emphasis on standardized testing as evaluation benchmarks for teachers and administrators. This model that Mike Miles has used has produced the result in the last couple of years of taking D and F schools to A and B overnight, Klossman said. But remember, that's only the STAR test. You see student improvement in test scores and in the state accountability system. But the question will be, will you see improvement in the areas that really make the difference in life for those students? It's inequitable, Williams said, for a person to come in and say that we're going to basically divide the line and say we have the haves and the have-nots. It's concerning because that's in essence what he's doing. He said all y'all have to do, so we're not going to bother you, and y'all have not, so we're going to pull all these stringent things in place. The mixed feelings are evident even in the individual level, creating dissonance for community members who opposed the removal of democratic governance from Houston's public schools, but felt something needed to change. Dion Walker is a social studies teacher at Wheatley High School, where teachers have to reapply for their jobs if they want to remain on campus next year.
Put a
That's going
bookmark
to
there.
hurt, huh?
Put a bookmark there too.
Yeah, put a bookmark there too. That's going to hurt dramatically, Walker said, because since I've been at Wheatley for the last 6 years, we've had a major turnover problem. Okay, yeah. That's partially because teachers at Wheatley already had to reapply for their jobs during a recent round of reform under the previous administration. Many of the new education system schools were also reformed more than a decade ago under the district's Apollo 20 program. Walker is happy to hear about some of the new changes, like higher pay, but he expects some teachers to struggle with the school's large population of at risk students, as well as the classroom walkthroughs and stringent test heavy teacher evaluations from the new administration. I mean, I'm really optimistic, he said. I'm dealing with the problem with TEA taking over, which is something I personally don't like. But since I have to deal with it, I'm going to make the best of it. But Walker and many teachers are confused about the removal of school librarians. Yeah, that's okay. So they are okay. If we create a society without a library, let alone a librarian, someone to work in it, it shows a lot about the culture of the city of that institution, he said. So for them to get rid of librarians is kind of weird and strange. I don't understand that. The newly installed board of managers meets for the first time Thursday at 5:30. The non-managers include several business people, an educator, a consultant who ran for the HISD board in 2021 and lost. Most of them have addresses west of downtown, while two live relatively close to Kashmere High School. I'll be there the first. It'll be the first time in years that Judith Cruz is not behind the dais. She's one of the elected trustees who no longer has policy making power. We can be upset about the elected board being removed, Cruz said. I mean, trust me, I have all kinds of feelings about it as well. But this is the situation where we are, and if you don't ever want to find yourselves again here, then we need to be focused on ensuring that this board and superintendent succeed in terms of our students getting the education that they deserve. Elected trustee Kathy Bluford Daniels is also taking a backseat with the board of managers now in place. Her district includes many of the schools facing reforms, and she was the only trustee who opposed the takeover at every opportunity, voting against dropping litigation after the Supreme Court of Texas ruled in January that TEA could proceed with the takeover. It's a bunch of political bullshit, and our children and our communities are caught up in the middle of it, Bluford Daniels said of the takeover. The elected trustees felt the heartbeat and the pulse of the communities. So they have 7 people from the west side that don't know anything about the north side, the northeast side, and the south side. Spare me. You have to make somebody that's really, really, really engaged in students and understands the needs of the community and the restriction these kids come across. She supports some of Miles' reform, like a focus on basic literacy, but she worries the geographic targeting will lead to an even more unequal school system. The voters to regain local control, the district has to make sure all schools consistently meet state standards. So many places to start.
Remember, this is a result of the uh story we did a couple months ago, where we talked about the fact that the State Board of Education (TEA) was going to take over in Houston. I think we did that story a couple months ago, and that the they call it trustee elected trustees, but for layman's term, the school board members would no longer, nor would the district have any say in what's going on. The state had just come in, TEA just came in and said we're taking over, and they're putting in things that are making this seem more like a prison. This what they're it sounds like they're turning this into is a prison as opposed to a school. Does it not? Am I missing something here? Like we're talking about really be. You've been teaching, longer than I, and I'm not trying to call you old, but I'm going somewhere with this. You've been teaching longer than I have. Have you ever heard in any of your pedagogical studies where they said, "Oh, it's widespread cameras in the classroom"? That's one of the first things that caught my attention because you never hear people talking about cameras in classrooms. Not that we're trying to hide anything, but that caught my eye up front. I don't know. Did that not stick out to you? I don't know. That
Well, first of
it's a,
all, it's a lot of things that stuck out to me. First of all, how you gonna have a focus on literacy, but you getting rid of all the librarians? I just
all the
need that to make
librarians.
sense. Second of all, how you gonna give a teacher? How you gonna talk about you're gonna give teachers a raise, but they have to work longer hours? Then that's not a raise. You're paying me for my time.
Exactly.
If you say that you're
Exactly.
increasing the school day by an hour and I have to work an hour and a half extra every day, but I'm gonna pay you more. You're supposed to pay me more because I'm
Because
working
I'm
longer. So
working
there's
more
no pay
hours.
rate. Right. So let's take that out of our head. The teachers are not getting a pay
Or
raise.
even the fact
Okay.
that now every year these people have to go and reapply for their jobs, even if and when you've already, done your where does that happen? Show me another institution where you go apply for a job
I think
and,
we have
and
I think we have somebody from Houston. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Otedi. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
no, what I was saying was show me another line of employment where you go, you get hired, and then they tell you, oh, but every year you have to reapply and get rehired for your job, but you want people to stay. What?
I think we have somebody that might be from Houston in the chat. The Miss Witt. She's speaking of adding some information and some facts. So I
Hmm.
think she's from the Houston School District. So thank you for adding more insight to this. Um, Cam's made a very good point, and this is what also I was thinking as I was reading. Cam said, so let's not examine the source of the social economic gap. I mean, the research on that is clear, but let's keep throwing standardized out there as a solution. Exactly. When you say that these specific schools who are all, let's just, I mean, for lack of a better word, on the wrong side of the tracks are the schools. You mean to tell me these are the only schools in the whole district, one of the largest district in the state of Texas, which is the what third largest state in our country. That's those are the only schools that are having issues. That's it. All the schools from the quote unquote west side of town, they're good. They ain't got no problems. Nothing going on over there. Nothing to see here. It's all the schools over here. And the way we're going to fix it is we're going to put cameras in the classroom. No cameras at the other schools, though. We're going to get rid of the librarians. We're going to keep the librarians at the other schools, though. We're going to make teachers reapply for their jobs every year. But the teachers at the other school, they're fine. I bet you all of them are proficient as well. But you don't have no
But
problem with
here's
them being labeled proficient. No problem.
one of the other issues when you have all of these new programs that come in. These new programs that they bring in oftentimes are were successful in areas not like the area that they're going in. Just because it worked with maybe a few black students in one area, It may not work for these black students over here because all students in all areas aren't the same, don't think the same, aren't, raised the same. They have different ideologies and ways of living and ways of thinking. The other thing is, even if it was successful in that one place, that may have only been successful in a, siphoned off period of time. Maybe it was something that was needed just for 6 months or one school year, and then we could right the ship and get it back to what would be normal, pedagogically sound education. But what it sounds like they're doing here, they're making, draconian changes to the school districts there with no consulting of the people involved, no consulting of the parents there, no consulting of the teachers there, the administrators there, or the students there. It's just being forced on them by people who don't have their best interests at hand. They're going to say they have their best interests at hand, but they don't have their best interests at hand. They don't know these schools. They don't know the teachers. They don't know the students. They don't know they don't know anything. And it's just so it's going to do more harm. The fear is in them trying to do better, it's going to do more harm. And the last thing I'm gonna say before I let you go really be is, what's going to happen here. We see it in all kinds of school districts. When the state puts their people in place, they alter the standards. They alter the bar. And if that district continues to perform low, guess what'll happen? They'll lower the threshold for what's passing or what they deem proficient, just to say that they were right and to justify them putting wrong measures in place. They do it all over the place.
Did you also peep in the article? They tried to slide it in there, but did you also peep in the article where they said supervise the lesson plans? So that means that
Oh yeah,
there's a team that's coming into the school that's going to write the
to
lesson
make my
plans for
lesson
these
plan.
teachers. So they're going to find, right, you're writing my lesson plans. So now I have to follow your script. Remember, let's remember there are videos in the classroom with a Zoom link, which means that anybody, anywhere, as long as they have the link, can drop in at any time.
They
Anybody,
probably have it
anywhere.
down to the minute. They probably have it down to the minute where you better not be more than 3 or 4 minutes off from where the lesson plans uh say you should be at. And you're gonna go from teaching and instructing to covering, covering material instead of teaching or instructing that material.
Absolutely. Because there is a difference. There's a difference between teaching and reviewing or covering, like El Teddy said. You know, and I know y'all get tired of me saying this. I know y'all do. But it's very reminiscent of what happened when Michelle Rhee came into DC. A lot of these things that are being put in place are very, very reminiscent. Teachers having to, the STAR system, that report card system. If the
Hmm.
school had a certain rating, everybody had to reapply for their job. They had to be put under, the standardized test scores, and everybody had to there was certain, certain benchmarks that had to be met, certain observations that had to be done more regularly. If you worked at these schools, you observed more often. It was just a lot. They brought in literacy coaches. They brought in they had these what they call them? Was it literacy? They had another type of coach that would come in. It's just crazy.
I mean, I have no problem if there's a problem and we address that issue and we bring, more resources and more things in, but it should be based on, tried and true pedagogical research. Some of these things that are being put in place, even
Absolutely.
somebody who knows nothing of education can look at it and say, what the hell are y'all doing? How you get rid of librarians in a school? Anybody who knows anything can tell you, oh, so all of this is 100% based on test scores? Really? Because you know what's going to happen. Then you're going to tell people to just teach the test instead of really instructing on curriculum, instructing on true curriculum. And then you can take, as you, of course, as you get close to certain exams, you may teach certain skills that go along with a certain test just before, so they're aware of, little look fors and catches. But by and large, you should not be teaching a test. And it sounds like that's what we're going to go to. And when the numbers don't match, like I said earlier, because these are people who they put in place, they will alter the bar. They will lower the bar so it looks like they were right.
Right. And the other thing is, I don't want anybody to think that I have a problem with doing my job because that's never my issue. But like El Teddy said, I have a problem if it's based in sound research. It's based in and again, if it's so great and it works so well, why isn't this being implemented across the board? Why is it only being implemented at the quote unquote struggling schools, which we already know? We heard all the cold words in that article. They talking about the black and brown kids. Now let's just call a thing a thing.
Also, really be, it sounds like
Is it me? Is
they're
that me or El
opening up
Teddy?
a, huh? Can you hear me? Can you
I
hear
can hear
me?
you and see you now. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
okay. It sounds like they're opening up a Starbucks where, okay, we're just going to go here, tell you what to do, give you the recipe. Don't deviate from this recipe. Don't deviate from how we tell you to do it. Here's the menu of things that you need to make, and that's all you get to do. And that's not instruction. That's not education. The beauty of education and instruction is the fact that there's no such thing as just round holes and round pegs, or just square slots and square pegs. The fact that you get in a classroom, you have circles, octagons, pentagons, nonagons, isodecahedrons, and all types of things. And as an instructor, the beauty and magic of education is making sure that all of the needs are met, as to the best of your ability, and getting not maybe all but the majority of those individual shapes to fit into the appropriate slots. And that's not what's happening here.
And the other thing I want people to make sure they heard, because again, it was so many red flags and whistles in that article. Oh my gosh, we could do a
Listen, we
whole
could
show on
we
just
could
that
do a whole
article.
hour just on that one
We could do a
article.
whole hour
That
on it. But the
one
other thing I want to make
article
sure that
alone.
exactly the other thing I want to make sure you guys heard, and then we're going to move on, is the trustees only has one educator. So going back to what El Teddy said about them running it like a Starbucks, because these are business owners. You heard what they said, that these are business owners. You have one educator and you have two people who used to be on the school board that were ousted. So this is what you have. That is who is telling teachers how to teach. The one thing El Teddy and I were talking about earlier today is we have to figure out where to find this data. I don't know if the Department of Education or what have you. I really want to see teacher attrition across the country. Remember how we used to be able to get state by state COVID information of who's open, who isn't open, and all that? I would love to find the state by state teacher attrition data. How many teachers are they losing? What is the percentage? What are the subject areas? What are the counties? It's got to be available. I'm going to try to find it. What Yoli said, I'm an HISD graduate many years ago. We are inner city schools. There is a huge disparity between HISD and the suburb districts. Of course there is. All right. Well, we have the El Teddy. Do you want to? We're gonna kind of just we can go deeper next week. Because I know you have to get ready to go
Yeah,
for your show, but we want to
yeah,
talk
we
about the
almost
next
at
two
our
articles
hour
that we're
too.
going to
We already at
find.
54 minutes of our hour.
I know. So do you want to wait till next week and do
Yeah,
it?
we may need to work because there's a lot to
Because I know
unpack,
you
and
have to
we
get
may
ready
be
for
able to
your
find that.
show.
We may be able to find that data as well. You know, with for the teacher attrition. Can you hear me?
I can
Can
hear
you
you.
hear me now? Oh, okay.
I can hear you.
Um,
Yeah.
okay. No, you were frozen for a second for me. I didn't know if it was my end or your end.
Oh, I think the internet is
Because I
tripping.
do think by the time we unpack or go into both of these articles, I know we said we would do them together. We're gonna already, that's gonna be already probably
Yeah.
over our hour. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, some of the final comments and things. That last article is alarming for a couple reasons
I was
here,
gonna say
really,
scary. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
because if and when they skew these numbers to make it appear to be successful, please believe that is going to become the gold standard for what you start to see implemented in other metropolitan areas and in other um, school districts around the country with big numbers like that and with large minority populations. I could easily see that being, streamlined around the country in several other areas. What's maddening is you have people making wholesale uh, 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 detrimental decisions on the quality of education who have no degrees in education, no instructional education, no nothing, haven't even been in a classroom. It would be like them saying, okay, all medical doctors in the country, we're going to have these people that have run all of the major car companies in the country decide what is right and what's wrong in medicine. You see what I'm saying? That it would be doing the same thing, saying, "Oh, we're going to have Elon Musk and a couple other people who've been successful with cars and selling cars now decide what's going to be implemented and what's going to be standard operating procedures in the world of
Well,
medicine." People would
right. Well,
lose
we
their
saw how
mind.
that worked with Elon Musk. Well, we saw how that worked when Elon Musk decided he was going to run Twitter. We saw how that worked out. So we
Exactly.
know, like, we know that that
People need
doesn't
to stay in their
translate.
lanes.
Yeah. Um, Travel Love says, as a daughter of a librarian, this is disturbing to hear that they are eliminating these professionals. Exactly. Um, so let me make the announcements because again, we are streaming on Really BTV and we are streaming on the Teacher Project 2.0. I see people saying that we need a part two and great conversation. If you are not, which most of you guys are, but if you are not subscribed to the Teacher Project 2.0, the link has been dropped in the chat and it is up on the screen. If you just go to YouTube and type in the Teacher Project 2.0, you will find us there.
We
We
have these
go
conversations every
every
week
week. We
on
have these
Wednesdays.
conversations every week. So
Every
please
week on
join us over
Wednesdays.
there. Yeah, generally on Wednesdays. And we've been doing a really good job of staying consistent this year. Thank you so much, El Teddy, keeping me on track. Um,
And we
so
actually
join us
don't fight over here. We have a good time over here.
no, we don't fight on the Teacher Project 2.0. We actually act like we have some sense over there.
We do.
We got up to like 80 people in the chat. So y'all join us over there, y'all. We have a good time.
Please go
Also,
join
feel
Teacher
free to
Project
reach
2.0.
out to myself. Right. Also, feel free to reach out to myself or El Teddy. If you are an educator, we are always open to having you guys on the platform. We love to hear your voice. If you are a concerned parent or just a stakeholder and you want to come on the platform and you want to join the conversation, you are, feel free to do that. We are always open to you guys want to send us any if you guys want to send us any articles from your area. We are always searching. El Teddy is the researcher of the two of us, but we are always searching for articles. So if you have some articles in your area or anything
I'm
like
glad
that
you
that
said
you
that,
want to
really.
share
B.
with
I
us,
told you how people be saying I don't do nothing. They be trying to mess with our
nah,
system. They don't know
El
we
Teddy
have a
works
system. We
hard.
know what we
El
do.
Teddy, we absolutely have a system. El Teddy works hard for the money. Okay. Um, what was the subject? Well, we're talking about where this is the Teacher Project 2.0. So this is all about education. I'm streaming it on my platform because I want more eyes. We're trying to get our 1,000 subscribers over there. So trying to get you guys over there. Um, and so the subject today we talked about a variety of things.
We talked
um,
about Florida.
you're a parent. Well, always Virgin Love. You are always welcome, Virgin Love. You are always welcome. You are a faithful subscriber on both of our other platforms. So, El Teddy is going live at 8 o'clock. So y'all make sure y'all
8
head on
o'clock.
over to El Teddy's house at 8 o'clock, and Evie will be co-hosting the after show on Chasing Reality after part 2 of the Chasing Dallas reunion. So after y'all get done at El Teddy's house, then y'all head on over to Chasing Reality and go check out Abby reviews over there. Okay? I'm gonna let El Teddy have the final word because I'm going to shut up now.
Um, I'll be live tonight at 8 o'clock. Y'all come through, come around, come around. We gonna have a good chat. Oh, that's the light from the. I was like, what is that on my wall? That's the light from the blinds. Okay, with the sun. Okay, like yeah. Anyway,
El Teddy,
y'all come
don't
around.
click off. El Teddy, don't click off when we go out. Don't click off.
Okay. Um. So do all of like Abby says, follow all of the people, do all of the things. We're always here. Please, if you are in education, of course, educators, happy summer, educators, as most people are going into their summers and are going to start to party like rock stars, meaning you have more time. Feel free to come on with us now that you have a little more free time. Teachers, educators, administrators, school board members, or any stakeholders in the education arena, even if you're a parent and you just want to come on and have a conversation with us, please come on because we welcome individuals to come on that agree or disagree with us because we need to be balanced in our approach to this thing called education. So please come on. We are soliciting people to be here with us. So drop us a line and we will certainly bring you all on. That's all I got for y'all until about 8 o'clock, and then we'll be back over on my channel, L Teddy 27 official.
All right.